Hello there, lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and it is finally here. I am finally allowed to give you a full review of the game that many people are already calling Pokkén Tournament. This smashing little number puts Pokemon battles into a real-time situation, which, well, sort of. I mean, it's a fighting game with Pokemon that fight each other. Yeah. The whole thing takes place in the Ferrum region, where Pokemon battles are different to other regions because of reasons. You, as a Pokemon trainer, have to sync your thoughts and actions with that of your Pokemon in order to beat 7 shades of substance out of your opponent. There's also a plot to this game, but it's about as thin as my commitment to keeping my amiibo collection organised. A dark, shadowy Mewtwo is stealing all the energy from some crystal, blah blah blah, it's world-ending and character building, and it's all about as cookie-cutter as it comes. Having said that, it is nice that there's at least some narrative to link all the battles of the Ferrum League together, otherwise it really would make for the dullest Pokemon region yet. The game would be worse off without it for sure. Getting back into the battling, it's all happening all the time. 2 Pokemon enter, both Pokemon leave, but one of them's won and the other one hasn't. You've got to attack, counter-attack, and grab your way to victory, and these 3 forms of knocking Pokemon about function in your typical rock, paper, scissors fashion. Attack beats grab, grab beats counter-attack, counter-attack beats attack, it's grass, fire, and water all over again. Understanding this is 100% essential to being any good at the game, so don't overlook it. You'll also switch between 2 phases, Field and Duel. Duel phase is your typical 2D side-on fighting game mumbo-jumbo, but Field phase is where things get really interesting. You're able to run around the whole area in 3 dimensions, giving way to a whole world of new tactics and potential new combat. Not only does the viewpoint change, but also so do your controls and moves. Respective to each phase, Y produces ranged attacks and weak attacks, X produces following attacks and strong attacks, and regardless of what phase you're in, A will do a Pokemon attack. These Pokemon attacks are attacks that have been ripped directly from the main series and have the most variety by far. Actually, now's a good time to talk about the variety in moves and fighters, and good gracious golly gravy, there's a lot. Each Pokemon feels as individual as the next, and even though there are 2 Pikachu and 2 Mewtwo, they feel extremely different to one another, and whilst they share a few similar moves, a huge majority of their moveset is completely unique. But how does it control? Well, in a word of dubious credibility, lovelily. Forget the complex inputs of games like Street Fighter, Pokkén takes a leaf out of Smash Bros. Proverbial book and relies on nothing more than a single direction and button for its attacks. This makes it wonderfully accessible for new players and doesn't slap you in the face with an arguably unnecessary steep learning curve right off the bat. Skill in this game comes from timing, reading your opponent, combo proficiency, and understanding both Pokemon that are in play. And if you're floundering a bit, you can always call on one of the world of support Pokemon to help you in the fight by buffing your stats, restoring your health, or just slapping your foe about a bit. As you fight, you'll also get access to Synergy Burst mode, which buffs up your attack, defense, and lets you use Synergy Burst moves. These are catastrophically powerful attacks that have an equally ludicrous animation to go with them. If it wasn't already clear, the variety in this game is as vast as you like, and there's another feature that only widens this further. As you battle, you'll gain skill levels, which allows you to assign points to 4 different stats for each Pokemon: attack, defense, strategy, and synergy. Attack and defense, well, they raise your attack and defense, and the others improve the charge times of your support Pokemon meter and your synergy burst meter respectively. The difference is subtle and you can turn it off for many of the modes, but it's yet another intriguing element that helps separate Pokkén from the rest of the fighting game crowd. It's not all perfect though, it has to be said, and I wouldn't be much of a critic if I didn't bring these little blemishes to light. The arenas you fight in vary slightly in size, shape, and obviously aesthetic, but generally they don't really feel any different from one another. It feels like a real missed opportunity given how crazy the franchise it's based on is. Amiibo functions are also pretty lifeless, much like Hyrule Warriors. Every day you can scan in up to 5 amiibo, cards and all, to receive gifts of in-game currency, items to customize your avatar, that sort of thing. There are loads of items for your avatar to be fair, but even the Pokemon amiibo don't do anything special, which is a real shame. But thankfully these downers are grossly overshadowed by the really good tasty stuff, and that is the battles. The tight controls, the immovable 60 FPS action, it all just flows like liquid butter. The 3D visuals are a bit fuzzy and low res, but generally you're not going to be noticing it unless you're one of those types, which I'm sure you're not. And of course there are various ways to battle. You can fight CPUs in single battle, take on the story-focused Ferrum League, which basically acts as the game's campaign, fight a friend on the same system, fight with 2 consoles over LAN, and of course take to the skies, or more accurately underwater transcontinental cables, and fight others over the internet. Pokkén Tournament has broken the mold of fighting games without completely overhauling the ideas that the genre represents. It's brought a real freshness to an arguably stale genre, ditched complex control schemes, and overall just brings a huge amount of fighting game fun to the Wii U. As the first of what we hope is a series of fighting games, Pokkén Tournament surpasses all expectations. Unfortunately, due to the online being such a big part of the game, we're really not happy giving it a score just yet. Please understand. We'll have a follow-up addendum with a real full score and everything once we've really managed to sink our teeth into the online mode, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you seismic toss that subscribe button, all in the aid of good fun, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.